Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Ohio Business Spotlight. I'm Tony Miltenberger with my co-host, Greg Fay. Greg, why don't you tell everybody who's on the show today?
Oh, what a treat. That's what's going to take place today. Everybody's going to get to learn the story about two young ladies that have built an empire. But what you're really going to learn is some of the things that they had a really hard time overcoming and what an incredible job they've done developing what Mashawn calls a tribe. And the girls there at that salon certainly love each other. So I'm really happy to introduce Mashawn Rigmaiden, co-owner of Bangs Salon and Spa.
Woo! Thank you so much for being here. Okay, Mashawn, let's jump into it. When did you decide that you wanted to be a business owner and not just a worker for someone else?
Great question. So we are missing my other half, Jessica. She is not able to be here today. She's saying goodbye to her loved fur baby, and so prayers to Jessica. So I was working at an area salon, and I wasn't there for super long. It was one of the larger salons in our area. It's called O'Neill's, and unfortunately, O'Neill's had to close, and there were lots of girls that were a little bit displaced, And actually, Jessica, my business partner, had come to me and had said, "Hey, I'm thinking about opening this salon." And I think Jessica was 22, might have been 23 years old at the time. And I said, "That sounds awesome. I will follow you wherever you go." We really didn't know each other that well. I had done her hair a couple times in the salon. And so in the process of her opening and trying to go through all the hoops of finding a location, doing build outs, which a lot of people don't take a 23-year-old girl very seriously, she was just kind of coming up on some obstacles. And I think I was the annoying friend that just kept calling, like, "What can I do? Can I help with anything?" And there really wasn't anything for me to help with until she kind of got to this point where she just was like kind of at a standstill, and she said, "Do you want to go into business with me? Do you want to do this together? Because you seem a little eager to want to help and do things." And I actually think my husband, when I came home and told him, he was like, "I don't think that's a good idea." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So sorry, Cameron. But so I was 25 at the time, and we were just two young girls, like the blind leading the blind, and really had no idea what we were doing. This was in 2008, like a crash of our economy, and probably the worst time to open a business. But truly, I think sometimes ignorance is bliss a little bit, and we really didn't know what all was going on, and we just trudged through it. And we had amazing girls supporting us. I think we opened our salon at the time with 12 girls, and we still have eight of those girls with us 17 years later. So some of the other people they're not even doing hair or aesthetics or other things anymore. So we love our girls that have stuck by us, especially those OG8, and it was really cool. So we had no idea what we were doing. The short of the long of that, we had no idea what we were in for, and we have just rolled with the punches for the past 17 years.
So you talked a lot. You said a million times that you didn't know what you were doing. And I think I heard the analogy one time that being an entrepreneur is like jumping off a cliff and building an airplane on the way down, hoping that you get it built successfully so that you land safely. But you guys talked. You made mention of a lot of the struggle, the things you didn't know. What what are two or three things that you know for sure you did right and you were totally confident in them, and it's what made it's what got you to where you're at today?
I think I would say the thing that we did right has less to do about us and more to do about others, and that's being always being coachable and teachable and surrounding yourself with wisdom. And I think I can say that maybe biasly speaking, we are surrounded by some of the wisest people in our community. And we just are always open to hearing from other people, and you want to learn from other stories, and let them make the mistakes and you learn from their mistakes. But I think that's our number one is surrounding yourself with great people, and then being open to what they say. And then two, just utilizing what you have. And I think with us, we had some great girls, and we knew some of the things that in the salon that we just came from, and I had come from a couple salons, like what didn't work for them, and we really just kind of utilized some of those things. Okay, this didn't work, let's do it differently. And so I guess being that young, we didn't have a ton of knowledge in those areas, but we knew what we knew, and we took what we knew, and we just I guess we just ran with it, and we trusted ourselves enough and each other enough, because I think a lot of times when you go into business with someone, that's hard and it doesn't always work out. But Jessica and I are a really good balance to each other. We're extremely different, but we have a lot of similar qualities too. So we balance each other out, but we utilize each other and things like that. So I would say those are two things that we know we did right.
One of the things that's interesting when I take a look at your business is that I hear the beginning of the story, the origin story, but now when I go to your website and I take a peek kind of behind the curtain, what's clear to me is that you've become really clear about who you guys are. You're committed to the professional industry through years of training and excellent customer service, and this is all on your website. Our intent is to maintain a salon filled with highly trained technicians who are motivated to always achieve new creative goals and high artistic levels. And your goal, which I absolutely love the way you guys wrote your goal, is to provide the most beautiful salon in Dayton, Ohio, where our clients leave feeling renewed and confident, not only on the outside, but more importantly on the inside. So I want you to talk to me for just a moment about the transition when you and Jessica got really clear about those three things, and what kind of put you in that next level. Because I might believe that you didn't know what you were getting into in the beginning, but what's crystal clear now is you're experts on what your intention is.
Yeah, so we're actually a booth rental salon, and that's kind of tricky in this day and age because you don't have as much control as you would have in a commission salon. However, one of the things that we really want to be clear about is, pretty much anyone can provide a good hair service that the client leaves looking good. But with our girls and our staff, it's so much more than that. Like, we believe in investing in people from the inside out. And we don't just fill a chair just to fill a chair, or fill a room with an esthetician just to fill a room for the financial gain of it. You have to be a fit for our tribe and our team. And in the beginning, we were like, can we do that? Can we say that? Because they're just renters. And after being coached to this, it's like, oh yeah, we can do that, because we want to have a salon that is not just the most beautiful salon in Dayton, but we want to have it filled with women or men that are able to create an experience for their client that is so much deeper than just making beautiful hair. It's about the client leaving and feeling different. They feel changed. They feel, one of the things, my mission statement personally is feeling seen, valued, and heard. I want them to leave feeling just changed from the inside. So we got clear with that, and I believe that every single stylist and technician inside Bangs upholds that values, and I would say that their clients feel the same.
Boy, that's rich. That was really good. I know that business owners, so separate yourself from what you do, the stylist, the salon, everything. The business owner out there that owns, whether they're a contractor, whether they own a retail operation, whether they do something different. What are some things that you did? You had to get buy-in for your tribe to all want to kind of dance to the same music. And that can't always be easy you probably, I'm going to gather that you probably had to listen a lot and kind of figure out where something was going to ebb and where something was going to flow. What were some things that you guys did that really brought the buy-in from your team?
I think I would say a lot of it is, I hope this answers your question correctly, maybe leading by example. And I never ever want to put myself on a pedestal, but I don't think you can ask for people or, in our case, renters to do something that you're not doing. And so with us, Jessica and I really try to lead by getting, we value continued education. We valued, customer service, treating the clients with the utmost respect, doing certain things like that. So honestly, I feel like saying this to the person who is a business owner struggling in this area, or someone who's looking to implement this in their business, like, I think that people end up maybe weeding themselves out when you set a standard to a certain point and you implement that yourself and then others follow suit. And if someone's not following suit in those areas, it ends up somewhat weeding itself out just because it feels different. And you create the vibe and the atmosphere that you want. And so that's something that we've really valued. And our girls do that. Our girls set the vibe. It's not just me and Jessica. We have amazing women that are in there upholding the highest values of customer service and of education. And so when someone comes in that doesn't want to do that, it kind of weeds itself out anyway. So I hope that answers your question.
That's great. One of the things that's clear to me as I get to know your story and you a little bit more is that you've got that entrepreneurial spirit. I also see that you guys expanded just beyond. You guys have this beautiful space. You also have now the boutique, and you've got a lot of things working. How did you know as a business owner it was time to expand a little bit more or take that next step of faith? What are some of the things that if you were talking to a business owner who was like, maybe I should get into this vertical or this, how did you know it was time to say yes to that big next scary goal?
Yeah. So again, this really revolves around being open to new things. So we are always, we've got business consultants, and we're always kind of looking at that next goal. Like, we spend a lot of time like vision casting and things like that. And we were getting to a place at the old salon where we were leasing the building, and we were at max capacity. And as a booth rental salon, you are not making the same amount as a commission salon. So, I always say if our girls were commission based, I would be a multi-millionaire. You wouldn't see me. I would be on a yacht somewhere. But our structure of business model isn't quite like that. And so we were like, okay, so we're kind of capped right now. So we sought out a business consultant, and we said, is it wise for us to purchase a building? And he was like, what's interesting is I don't encourage that for a lot of people, for a lot of business models. It's not the right move. But for yours, it is, because we're not going to necessarily be millionaires off of what our girls bring in, but having a retirement investment is what's really wise for our business model. So I would say, having someone that you can go to that you trust, that is an amazing consultant that can really dig deeply into your business model. Our business model is so different from others, and even in our area, especially in our area, we were one of the trailblazers of the large booth rental sector, and others have kind of come along that way, but it just looks different for everyone. And for us, it was time, and that's a big jump. That's a ton of risk. So essentially, we're taking ginormous risk for our renters. But in the end, it was a good time to buy in. Our properties are, we got them at a good time, and they're only, going up in value currently, but we knew it was time. And again, I think as an entrepreneur, you just take risks, and we do that. And so we did, and they were big risks, but I believe they're paying off, and they were wise for us to do.
Well, before I ask my next question, I want to just echo something I've heard you say multiple different times, that you guys have been so willing to take on advice, to learn from other people's mistakes, to ask. And I have to believe right there that any entrepreneur that is listening here takes that away. But let's flip it a little bit, because you guys are unique in the sense that you and Cameron are both business owners in entirely different business sectors, and Jessica and Tim are both business owners. We had Tim on; he was one of our early guests, in two different business sectors. How do you guys manage that? What are some of the boundaries that you set? And I have to believe the caliber of stylists that you have there, I wouldn't be surprised if you have a few others that are like that right there. What do you share with your team? What maybe have you learned from your team in balancing that when two people in a household, husband and wife, are business owners?
Yeah, we're crazy. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm just kidding. It's great. Just when it comes to tax time, it's not great. So, um, yeah. So, with Cameron and I, we really determined early on that we run our businesses so differently. So we've really set up boundaries where I don't get involved in his business, and he doesn't necessarily get involved in mine, unless, we're so encouraging to each other. So there are things that, overlap, but we're two different people, and we run businesses differently, and the same with Jess and Tim. And so, and I can't think of any other of our girls that are like that at the salon. I'm sure there is, though. None is popping right into my head, but I think it is hard, and it's a lot. I mean, a lot of on the clock. So the things that we've really had to do was put boundaries up of, these are work hours, these are not work hours, and that's probably with any job, but you can really work around the clock as entrepreneurs. And so we've really had to learn those things together. But that is definitely something that, Cameron, actually, it was a funny story. He ended up, when we opened our first location, when we were leasing, we had to do a build out, and we were like, this is great. I married into this. He's going to, do our build out. And then he came in and, was essentially, he took like a voluntary leave of absence he was working for, the Carpenters Union, and he was like, I love this. This is great. Like, I actually want to work for myself. And again, mind you, 2008, like, not a great time to open a business, period. And then we opened two. And so we both have been like, learning a lot as we go. And it has been really hard. It's not for the faint of heart. I don't highly recommend it, but it has worked for us. It has grown our faith in our trust in the Lord, because we've had to. But I think that's with all entrepreneurs. I feel like you have to have some sort of faith, because there's just a ton of risk involved. So yeah, I'm going to think about that. If there are other girls at the salon, because I feel like there are another couple entrepreneurial duos, but.
Well, one observation before Tony kind of brings us home at the end here. One observation I'll make, and I've had an opportunity to observe three businesses: Cameron's, Tim's, and yours and Jessica's. And excellence certainly is a thread that is commonly woven. Looking at Cameron's work, I mean, he built you all's home, and then just being able to observe from a distance the salon, and then talking to Tim, excellence is a thread that you guys take seriously. And it's to be commended, and I think that you're being rewarded. So that's just an observation on my part, and I hope that any entrepreneur or someone that's considering being a business owner takes that away right there. Go ahead, Tone.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, but before I do, I want to give you a chance to shout out the event that you're doing at the end of June in Philadelphia. You serve on the board for two incredible ministries, Triple X Church and Live Free Ministries. You and Cameron are doing this thing called Bullfest. There's a lot of people who may be passionate about this as well. Let's give a free plug here because I think it's so important to do this kind of work.
Thank you. Oh, yay. Yeah, so I'm on the board with Live Free. That also accompanies Triple X Church, which I was previously on the board for Triple X Church, so now it's like a 2-for-1. So it is an online recovery platform. It's livefree.org, livefreecommunity.org, sorry, just kidding. But it is especially for men who struggle with sexual addiction. And they have got small groups, but they also have a platform for women whose husbands or sons or anyone in their life struggle with sexual addiction as well. So I feel like pornography addiction is very prominent. It's one of those kind of secret things that a lot of people it's easy to live in that shame and no one knows about because it's a little more secret and hidden than other addictions. And so having a platform and a group and a recovery program for that, I feel like is so important. So Bullfest is actually our one ginormous fundraiser that we do every year. There's other fundraisers, but this is our big one. Being on the board, we meet virtually throughout the year, but this is our one meeting that we have to do in person. So I fly out to Philadelphia on Friday. Super excited. Carl Thomas is the founder. He's like one of the most phenomenal humans that you'll ever meet, and he's just doing big things in the sexual addiction recovery world. So
I love it. I love it. So you can, if you want to donate, there's still time to donate before this weekend. Just go to Mashawn's Facebook page, and there's a link right there. Super easy to do. Okay, Mashawn, last question we love to ask people because we love and are passionate about small businesses. What are 3 local businesses that you think we should have on the show?
I'm getting ready to write them down right now, Mashawn.
Okay. So you actually haven't interviewed my husband yet. I know he was supposed to be on, but his business kind of changed some things. And so
he's on the list. He's on the list.
Okay. So can that still count as my one? Can that be
Yep,
one?
that counts as one. Give us 2 more.
Okay. Flavors, Eatery in Centerville.
Oh, that's a good one. I love Flavors.
That is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Rick is awesome. Oh my gosh, it's funny because my brain.
Yeah, it happens every time we put somebody on the spot.
Because I'm gonna forget like the person I want to shout out, and I don't.
Well, you've killed it with 2 of them.
Okay, good. Oh gosh, couldn't I have gotten this sooner? I would have. This has to be off the cuff.
Nope, we like it off the cuff because this moment is pure gold.
And you've already done Bubble Shine.
We've already done Bubble Shine.
Do that.
If you only have 2, that's okay because we put you on the spot.
Well, let's go with those 2. But like afterwards, I'm gonna have 25 that I'm gonna want to send to you.
Just text us.
Just text me and put them on the.
We'll put them on the list. We'll put them on the list.
I'm the keeper of the list.
Mashawn, thank you so much for your generosity, for what you do for our community, for being such an incredible business member, and thank you and Jessica for creating a community that really cares about what it means to be a business owner. So thank you. Oh, you found it.
Hey, and thank you for that. This was amazing. But the Coffee Hub, which is one of our tenants in our building next door to the salon. So Coffee Hub.
Love the Coffee Hub.
They're amazing. Yay, I thought of one. Thank you so much for having me on and for all the kind words. I appreciate that.